Hello to you all, and thank you very much for having me here today. I'm in a pretty unique situation today because I'm here to introduce you to a permissioned blockchain built for enterprise, but in the same time I'm also here informing you or showing you what it means to have actually worked and dealt with a decentralized ecosystem since 14 up until this moment, and using all the experiences that we've learned through that time, like a lifelong workshop, you might say, to actually come up with a solution that we feel is really excellent for future enterprises whenever they're looking for blockchain solutions. Let's take some historical facts to support this. In October 13, 2015, Daniel Larimer announced the Bitshares 2.0, and in the same time he announced OpenLedger DEX, or the decentralized exchange that we actually provided as OpenLedger from Denmark. We provided OpenLedger de facto decentralized exchange. Since then, we basically provided that service with gateways, etc., to the Bitshares ecosystem. And Daniel Larimer was initially a partner 50-50 with myself, presenting OpenLedger to the rest of the world. On OpenLedger, or rather OpenLedger on Bitshares, when you speak about how we are involved, you could say I'm a committee member of this ecosystem. We are also, or my team, we have 50 of them in Minsk, Belarus. Part of them are operating the witness for Bitshares. We have also a position as a proxy, top 5 on Bitshares. I mentioned contractor, but actually it means that we are providing services and solutions via worker proposals and being paid by the Bitshares in this way, in this sense. The gateway and exchange, well, we managed to get something like 260,000 unique users, and at its peak it was like 1,200 users per day that we got on board. All of this just to say that since 15 and up until now, if we count 1 minute in the technology space, in blockchain space, as 60 in real life, then we've spent 240 years, investigating and looking into what Bitshares can offer the world. One example is the DEX, which is still operational, the OpenLedger DEX, or the OL DEX, also named. We have the OpenLedger Explorer, which was built for the same purpose. We have the OpenLedger DEX mobile wallet. And that leads me to the point where I say 240 years spent looking into and understanding what Bitshares is offering, which is really exceptional in all its cases. It has smart coins, you can create assets, you can collateralize assets, you have various points like multi-sig features, thresholds to establish. Fabian actually mentioned a lot of the stuff that Bitshares is offering. We want to take that into the next step, the next, what can you say, sphere, where we wish to offer that to enterprises. At the moment, there are hundreds, maybe thousands of blockchains out there, but up until this moment, we heard it today also earlier, none of them have actually managed to reach the adoption or the mainstream adoption. And why is that? Well, you have the technology, which is perhaps rarely fit for the enterprise use. You have perhaps businesses being reluctant to actually enter due to the loss or risk of reputation. That means basically you have these technical and regulatory and reputational risks to face, and that's where we thought we take Bitshares as it is, and we combine it, basically those smart coins that we love so much in Bitshares, we combine it backed by smart contracts from the Ethereum virtual machine. And then we have the speed covered by the Graphene toolkit. We have the speed, we have the scalability. I think maybe nobody, not so many people knows, but Bitshares is by far the blockchain structure and ecosystem built the best for scalability. You don't have it in Ethereum, you don't have it in Bitcoin, and others face other issues, but Bitshares has the scalability. We love that part. The safety comes also by the fact that we have basically the ownership of your own account through those private keys. So we're adding that, what I would call the unique point of decentralization is actually ownership of your own account on the blockchain. So we have OpenLedger as a product. It's a new type of blockchain. It's a protective blockchain, which is really designed for transactions and for compliant business operations in a secure, scalable, and high-speed infrastructure. Here you see basically the target audience. And of course, personally, because I'm married to a Philippine and I was married to a Moroccan before, I love the expatriates part, where you can actually send money back home, can help my wife's family, etc. But trader, I've been a lot in the past. I love the part of the auditing because we all need this. I face it more and more as we go along here, but that's a nice thing. Gamers, excellent for gamers also. And freelancers, because we are building a service on top, which is called Gig Economy Freelancer Exchange. So that will allow actually to avoid the fake accounts, fake reviews, and secure the payments from freelancers, or rather from contractors to freelancers. That's the freelancer website or service that we're offering. But the main focus here is, of course, the small and medium-sized enterprises. As you may notice here, you have really the different service providers and partners meant for that. Yes. Come down to the solution here. It's a combination of governance and consensus with the software as a service. It's built really from ground up for business adoption. You have the comprehensive and clear information about clients. You have one user, one account, which is unique in this day and age on blockchain. You have the protective democracy and user-based governance. And then you have the identity verification as a condition of platform use. And finally, the cutting-edge technology, where I feel Bitshares really falls into this point and place. As a support or to show you how we see this to actually come out in real life, we start off by introducing the users and businesses through this initial part where we connect with regulatory requirements and this whole idea of validation by default. We then connect the verification and constitution. We encrypt it on each profile and user base, and they enter into a referendum or a blockchain part where you could consider all of this to be decentralized, where everybody is able to build their own dApps and basically run their own business as long as they do it according to regulations. I'll just give you a small idea of what this blockchain is able to basically present to you. What are the important parts here? KYC and AML, an important aspect. The developed ecosystem of services, basically a platform for digital assets tradings, and the dApps, of course, are the vital parts for the enterprises. So we have here basically a blockchain built for enterprise adoption with KYC by default. It means that every single user will have to undergo this, even the validators. and even the governance members, they all have to prove this one-time, once identity verification, and are then able to use VP Ledger's products and services. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So here we have basically my idea of using this Bitshares. We start off with Bitshares, we combine it with Graphene, and come up with the Graphene 3.0, where we combine the Ethereum Graphene virtual machine. Oh, sorry, the Ethereum virtual machine. One of the things that I feel is possible now to combine Bitshares with Ethereum virtual machine with the smart contracts is the DeFi, the decentralized finance, where we actually can go in and offer even real-time transfers and at less than 1 cent each. Another thing we are able to offer using the tech from Bitshares, you have the recurring payments, scheduled payments, and daily limits. That's in Bitshares. We connect that with robotic process automation on VP Ledger. We are the first who is able to do that, actually. I have a proposal to you all, because I'm also Bitshares by heart. Come really join the Bitshares. It's a fully tested financial framework, 6+ years. Learn from it. Use it a similar way as you do Corda or Hyperledger. Use it in a local environment on a global scale. Produce it and create your own compliant version, like we have done on VP Ledger, or just come join VP Ledger. You can donate to this Bitshares Foundation. There's a Bitshares Foundation who is here to take the orders. And you can then keep up the development with new features. It's cheaper. It's really cheaper for all the governments in the world than spending millions on reinventing the deep plate. That's my feeling, and that's what I've seen. Well, that's basically, I just give you a little idea of what and where we are also. We're in Copenhagen. We have 50 IT professionals, and the experience I already told. We have a go sign up on the DEX if you want to try and test the decentralized platform, or if you want to try the VP Ledger testnet, where you can actually try to upgrade to a lifetime member, or simply go via the console and test creating a dApp, or creating a smart contract, or even using some of the APIs, etc., creating assets. You are all able to do that via console if you have the technical skills for that. Well, that was my short presentation. I could keep speaking about everything here, 240 years of experience. But I would love to have a few questions from you also. I guess I have 2 minutes or something.
Yes.
Yeah?
I would like to hear more about the 240 years and how did you come up with that number? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, as I mentioned, well, that's just a quick explanation. My idea and generally from the time I entered, I felt completely messed up in my head with all the impulses and things I got every single minute in my life in the first 2 years. So my wife, of course, never really managed to reach me in this time, like face to face. But for me, and a way of explaining is, for me, 1 minute in the space of technology is like 60 minutes in the real life. So if you speak like that, then these 4 years times 60, yeah? So that's my way. But maybe, yeah, I was saying it wrong, of course. Anyway.
I have a question. Thanks for your speech.
Thank you.
You said in the first slide it's legally compliant. How can you achieve this with 200 countries changing permanently their laws and regulation, where everything is building up in this ground at the moment? How can you achieve?
You start off by adding a user base. I mean, the first thing you can do is adding user base and have them all undergo the KYC. But you also have to, I mean, every single country has their own regulatory requirements when it comes to even businesses as such. And here you could say It is a step-by-step process. The general idea here is we need to be out connecting with the regulatory, or what can you say, FSAs, governments, etc., in every single country, enabling this process and to ensure that we are able to reach the people. In Denmark, for instance, everyone is able to access and get verified basically through a card, through a simple ID. Yeah, so one could imagine that. I think it's something similar even in Spain. So once you've actually added you or registered via that application, you are in fact validated for that country. Same way here. We want to add those different countries as we go.
Thank you very much.